So welcome. We are going to talk about the future of MIDI in music education. And we are very, very, very excited about the work that we've been doing. We've been working on this project for a good 2.5 years now, and it is finally really at the point where it's coming to fruition. And to get started, I'm going to introduce two people from Time, which it is very interesting because I don't think that Time in the UK and Time in the US have ever actually interacted directly with each other before. So,
We're there now.
Yeah, it's amazing.
so I can't help myself. I actually wrote something that was, it was about Time, which is technology and music education based in the US. And then I had to write another article about Time, which is technology and music education, which is based in the UK. And I said, does anybody really know what time it is? It was an old Chicago joke, so it was good. So I'm going to ask Kate Rounding from Time in the UK to explain who Time is, what they do, how they bring technology to music education. So Kate, take it over.
Okay, thank you, Athan. And thank you so much for inviting me to speak here and to get to know Time USA and to be a part of the MIDI Association talks today. So Time Technology and Music Education UK, we've been formed about 7 years now. Not quite as established as our esteemed colleagues in the USA. We're a membership organisation. We have corporate members, and they range from established music technology companies to brand new startups who we support. And we also have free membership. So we have about 1,000 individuals, teachers and educators who we support with their use of music technology in education. We were formed back in 7 years ago when the National Plan for Music Education was being put together, and we were absolutely determined to ensure that music technology was represented in that plan, so that when the UK education system was looking at guidance at policy level, music technology was embedded as part of that. And we were pleased to see that it certainly was. It was mentioned over 53 times. And one of the great things about that was that it was linked very much to access and inclusion. So at Time we have three kind of main strands of work that we do. Education from primary right through to HE, higher education. We have community music supporting young people who've perhaps not been able to access formal music education. And we help them with their use of music technology and gaining qualifications. But also a very important strand for us is access and inclusion, or special educational needs and disabilities. So we work with lots of fantastic companies from around the world who have innovative products that can broaden that access to music. And all of that comes under the umbrella of new technology. So yeah, that's a basic introduction to our work in the UK.
Yeah, I will say this. The UK is really killing it with music accessibility. Drake Music, we have a lot of partners together. Drake Music is a wonderful organization that focuses on doing music accessibility. And I like to say this. I don't like to say this, but I will say it anyway. And what I don't like to say is somehow in the current state that America is in, we have decided that diversity and equity and inclusion is somehow a bad thing. And actually, Lachi told me that they have added the word accessibility to those list of words that they are trying to scrape. So you're lucky you live in the UK right now. Um, so I'm going to turn it over to Gillian to talk about the other time.
Of course, thank you. And again, thank you so much for having me here to represent for Time. It's a lot of what Kate has said already. We're doing a lot of similar initiatives. One of the main focuses of Time for us in the US is professional development. So we provide over 6,000 hours of professional development, and it's at a variety of different MEA conferences from Texas to California to Minnesota. So our primary focus is to help teachers in engaging them in a variety of different innovative technology strategies they can use for their classroom. For me, I come from the K through 12 music technology background, so a lot of the sessions that I try to provide are within that space, but every single person that represents Time in the US has their own specialty. Will Kuhn, our president, his focus is on electronic music production in the performance realm and at the collegiate and high school level. So we all have our strategies that we use with our students, and our focus is to try to bring those to educators. The way in which we do that, we have, in addition to the workshops at MEA conferences, we also have newsletters that we'll post. We have a very active website in addition to free and paid membership. So it's so far been really, really successful and an amazing opportunity to continue to go to these conferences and have a presence. We also try to bring our students with our funding into these conferences so they can perform for other teachers, so we can kind of continue that advocacy and make that impact. But it's been in really incredible initiatives all around.
Great. Well, so I worked for Korg for many years before I worked for Yamaha, and Mike Covens was actually the person who started Time. Mike Covens was the vice president of Korg USA, and we always used to talk about the fact that anybody who's doing music education is an ally. You don't compete in the world of music education. You work together. And one of the things that I think we're trying to do here is make sure that everybody is rowing the oars in the same direction, and we have a very clear goal of where we want to go with music and technology in music education. I'm going to turn it over to a good friend of mine, Professor Amaya, Jenny Amaya, who helps to make sure that we can do a NAMM show at all. So take it over.
Yeah, thank you, everyone. I actually want to start by saying I was a member of Time for a very long time. I was VP for a little while, actually. It's
Oh,
a
beautiful.
long time ago. So it's a great organization with really, really good human beings running it for years. It's just been great. So if anybody, even if you're not in education or K through 12 and you're starting out, I think it's a really good organization to be part of. And to be able to do clinics and things like that at the big trade shows and all of that is a great thing. So great organization. So yeah, I grew up in the products industry. Sometimes I call myself a NAMM baby. I was 17 years old doing product demos for companies, and that's how I ended up here today. And it's because of just the great people that I've met along the way, including those from Time and all that. My connection to Athan came because of the products industry connections to here. And MIDI has been a huge part of all of that. But what we're doing now, kind of full circle for me in my life, is I'm able to bring my students now and allow them to work a NAMM show and get those same experiences that I had when I was their age or even younger. So RCC, this is I believe our fourth year. Where's Harley? Fourth year, thank you. Doing this, we started with that wall in the back like 4 years ago, and it just grew from there. We started with about 16 students. In the last couple years, we've had anywhere from 50 to 60 students in and out of the show, helping run this booth. We do setup, tear down. It's great for the students. I would tell anybody, if you get a chance to bring your students to the show, connect with some industry partners, it's even better. Working a booth, they're making connections that you can't make from just experiencing the show as a visitor. So we're super thankful to you, Athan, for allowing this.
So I just like to ask a question of the students who are here. Do you like being at the NAMM show? Yeah. Is this the coolest thing that you did all year? Besides going to Professor Amaya's class, of course.
Nah.
So now we're going to get into the main part of what we're doing. And I have Bob de la Pena here from SAE Mexico. Um, this is the goal, and we've been repeating this goal a lot. This is what we want to do: is we want to raise awareness of MIDI in education at schools. That's secondary schools. It's what Gillian does. So K through 12. And one of the things that we're doing also is we want to include manufacturers, because manufacturers need to train their staff on MIDI as well. So we try to do that all inclusive. We have a lot of people who have been involved in this project. I'm looking for Keith, who's here somewhere. Uh, Keith from Belmont University. All of the organizations that you see up on the screen here have contributed. And the way that we work is really super interesting, I think. And I'll talk about it a little bit in a second. So we've introduced the panelists, so we can skip over that. I'd like to introduce Bob and let him talk about why we selected SAE Mexico and what they're doing that is really unique, because we selected SAE Mexico for a very specific reason. And the reason is we wanted to give away the course for free, and they were the only people who could actually do that for us. So can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, sure. Thanks for having us here. Nice to meet you all. Jenny, nice to see you again. It's amazing to be at the NAMM show. I'm totally into, guys, take the most out of this. It's a great experience. And well, SAE Mexico, let's say it's the biggest in the whole network of SAEs, maybe a bit behind the Australian one. So we have around 350 audio students. And we also have all the other programs, right? Music business, which a couple of my friends from the music business program are around here. And we're turning 15 years in Mexico, but 50 years overall in the whole world. And we have like that many experience because all of the network has translated that into us. And we've experimented, played with, implemented courses, digital courses with Coursera on a lot of our programs, developing our own materials as well as integrating other ones. And well, we also going to be able to translate it to Spanish as well, right? So that's a big.
Yeah, I mean, that was a really big reason for us, is we wanted to make sure that we were inclusive as possible. Again, one of the wonderful things about America, this wonderful country that we live in, is we have a wide diversity of people who speak different languages, and certainly Spanish is one of the main languages here in the United States.
A beautiful, hermoso, uno hermoso.
So the other thing that we wanted to do to make sure that it was accessible to as many people was it had to be free. And actually, it's very interesting, because when we started looking at different platforms, we looked at a bunch of platforms and we contacted Coursera, and they said, oh no, you can't give anything away for free. And we were like, yeah, but we're the MIDI Association. That's all we do. We don't do paid. We don't sell anything. We just give stuff away for free. And then we realized that actually SAE Mexico had signed a special contract with Coursera to allow them to, you to do that.
Yeah, actually, we have a new general director, and he used to be the CEO of Coursera Latin America. So we even have that close of a bond with Coursera. And since we integrated with them to build our own courses and stuff, so it was only natural to make the most out of that relation and be able to give that away for free.
Yeah. And so the other thing I think that is very important that people understand is we're making this available under a Creative Commons license, which is a fancy term to say you can take it, you can take it, you can modify it, and all you have to do is at the very bottom put a little thing that says from SAE Mexico and the MIDI Association, and you can modify it and change it however you want. We picked the most permissive Creative Commons license we could find. This is actually a picture. So actually, Gillian said, do you guys have videos? So this is actually just a picture from one of the videos that we have in the course. So Coursera, anybody who has taken a course on Coursera, and Coursera is a great platform. It is one of the world leaders in learning systems. They've been doing it for many years. We just had the very specific problem that we didn't want to make people buy it. We wanted to give it away for free. So everything you can do in Coursera, you can do with SAE Mexico. So we have a lot of great videos that are all produced.
Yeah, that's another thing. We have our own production company, and we're actually starting another student-based production company for the content. But that's another thing. We're gonna be able to produce in-house all of these videos, so you guys will. Actually, I've been in a couple of those. Maybe you've seen those. I'm trying to like explain MIDI and stuff. It's fun. Yeah, that's another advantage of working.
Yeah.
with
So
education.
again, this is another example of just a screenshot from one of the videos, and this is actually another screenshot, which is actually 100% from the Coursera course. And one of the interesting things that we're doing is we're combining the MIDI.org website and all of the history lessons that we have there and all of the information there directly into the Coursera course and doing cross-linking between the two. So it's a very interactive experience. I'm going to talk for a second about how we actually do these meetings. And this is actually, I think this is one of the most interesting things that we do. So we have a large group of people who meet, which is the MIDI in Music Education group, which includes probably about 15 or 20 people, depending on the day of the week when we meet. And so people go to that meeting, but then we decided that it was a little bit too big to do editorial. So we selected an editorial team, which is Brian Smithers from Full Sail University, one of the top universities, professional universities for learning audio and MIDI and video and games and everything. And then Dustin Painter, who's from Virginia State University. So we have them in a smaller group. And then we have Raul. And Raul Banales,
Pañales, but yeah.
as good as a gringo can do.
Pañales.
So Raul can speak some English, but he doesn't really feel comfortable. He likes to speak in Spanish. So what we actually do is we go on this little platform that we have called Midiable, and we get instantaneous AI translation, and Raul speaks in Spanish, and we read what he says in English, and then we respond in English, and he reads what we say in Spanish. Like, what you can do now, translation should not be an issue for anybody ever again because of the advances that have been made in LLMs and AI. It exists all over the world now, and it is really making the world a much smaller and better place to live in, because you shouldn't have to worry about what language somebody speaks. Everybody, however, should speak one language, the universal language of music.
And MIDI.
And MIDI. So actually, what I always say is music is the universal language of human beings. MIDI is the universal digital language, and it's the way we connect together. So look, I think you can see that we are well on our way. These are actually all just screenshots that come directly out of the Coursera course. We're about 50% of the way through what we want to do in phase one. And I'm not going to go into the details of that, but we have covered the toughest parts already, which is the introduction and the actual kind of spec part, which takes, some explanation. We have to explain to people, what the heck is hex? Why would you want to count in 16? And there is a reason for it, but and then people learn that. Oh yeah, and there, MIDI as a universal language. Hey, I said that. That is it for our presentation, but I'd like to kind of open it out to the panel and just open it out. You kind of got a quick glimpse of what we're doing. Do you think that you'll be able to use this in your schools and think it'll be helpful? We hope it will be.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I think right now we are at a deficit of online materials being available, and the materials that are available are not free. And any expense to a teacher, oftentimes they're putting that on their own shoulders. So I think it's really nice to have this as a platform that they can utilize at any time, whether they want to take the course throughout the summer when they do have time or throughout the school year, and then go into their classroom and be able to take full application of all the materials. I think it's just a really great way to start off with the digital learning experience.
Yeah, and we want to make it really clear. We are not trying to replace teachers. That's the last thing we want to do. What we're trying to do is we're trying to give people that first taste of MIDI and music education, so they want to learn more, and then they want to go to a school like one of your schools. They want to go to a place like Full Sail. It's the conveyor belt to get you on that thing. I've got a couple of people I'd like to bring up and have a quick moment with. Jonathan Weiner. Jonathan Weiner is from Berklee College of Music. Give him a round of applause.
Thank you very much. Thanks for taking a moment here. MIDI is kind of non-negotiable, and it has been for decades at Berklee College of Music. It is kind of the first really truly powerful abstraction layer for music, maybe after like manuscript, and it's something that's alive and well, along with programs like using the laptop as an instrument and turntablism and some of the other things that we do. They're kind of innovative at Berklee. We've just stood up something called the Berklee Emerging Artistry and Technology Lab, which is dedicated to introducing students to technology so they're equipped with the knowledge and the skills going forward. AI is absolutely the elephant in the room for us right now. We're thinking deeply about it. There is no question that MIDI has a role to play in generative audio and also stem splitting systems and other things that lean into machine learning, et cetera. It's a very interesting area. There's a lot of experimentation, a lot of work to do to think about how it's going to land on musicians and the creatives going forward, and that's some of the work that we're dedicated to doing at Berklee. If you're interested in learning more about it, you can find the Berklee Emerging Artistry and Technology Lab. You will never remember. The name of the program is Beetle. Pretty easy. So anyway, thanks for your attention. Thanks for giving us a moment up here. And thank you for all of the fantastic work that you're doing around education, and a rising tide lifts all boats. Oh, and by the way, we truly believe at Berklee that DE&I accessibility, it's not optional. It is in fact the lifeblood of making music, musical communities. If you look at our website, that language has not disappeared. We are committed to it. And it's not even that we're committed to it, it simply is. It is at the heart of making music together and building community. So thank you for your advocacy around that as well. So thanks, everyone.
So I'm going to back off and try to project less. So I'm giving Melissa trouble. So did you know Dave Mash? Yeah. Okay, so Dave Mash is the person who started the music production program at Berklee. I happened to work at EU Wurlitzer's back in the day. I was actually the first person who said the words MIDI to Dave Mash. I said, yeah, there's this thing coming, and yeah, no, he will back me up on this. It was a new thing, and I knew he would be like, oh, this is going to be good. And so I think I brought a Prophet 600 to his office, and I said, look, you can do this. You can connect this to this. And he was like, okay, this is good. I'd like to bring up Keith. Keith is from Belmont. He's a professor at Belmont University, which is a great university in Nashville. Come on up.
Yeah, welcome. Thank you. Belmont University, we are obviously, well, first of all, I've had the pleasure of being a part of that larger group of the MIDI in Music Education. Obviously, Belmont, along with most all of the great institutions, understand the importance of MIDI, of the educational aspect, its role in what we do. The line I always use with my students is the fact that MIDI really does afford you to be the one-person orchestra. So it's been a true blessing and an honor to serve with these folks. And yeah, more MIDI, right? MIDI 2.0, more MIDI.
Or MIDI.
All right, we'd like to thank you for attending our presentation. Can we get a round of applause for our wonderful panelists?